Welcome to Good Enough to Eat. I'm Warren. Hi, I should brand myself. Pronouns he, him. And welcome back. We are baking some banana bread today. If you saw the post just a minute ago, you saw the very brown bananas, which is perfect. That's what I was going for. No, it takes like 2 seconds for it to pop up. So just give it a chance. It's good. It says it's on. Oh my goodness. It already was. Yeah, see, it's like 3 seconds behind over there. Anyhoozle, back to it. So, bought bananas like 2 weeks ago in anticipation of doing this. Specifically, bought bananas so they would sit around on the counter and go brown, get nice and soft and sweet for me. Easy to mash up. If you don't want to wait, if you want instant gratification banana bread, I was gonna look this up, but you can also cook your bananas in the oven. Um, should be easy to look up. You can do it right now. But low temp for a while. I had a friend who's a baker in Chicago and did this once, but I did not look it up before. Oh, 300 degrees for a while. Yeah, I would just watch them at that point until the peels are all black and look like this, something like this. Um, but yeah, watch them. Anytime you're putting something sensitive in the oven like that, keep an eye on it. But yeah, 300 for several minutes until done. Anyway, so pretty simple recipe as always. Standards of baking. I've started out with my room temperature butter that I've already given a good beat here to get it to that mayonnaise consistency, so it's nice and creamy, oozy for me. And then you don't have to hear me whipping it around on the camera. I know how much y'all love that. There's my butter done already. Then I've got the sugar. I did the earlier demo version and I used a whisk to beat up my butter and sugar. Works fine, but it's kind of a pain at first because the butter starts sticking inside the whisks stuff. So I decided to go back to the wooden spoon for this one. Doesn't matter that much. They'll both get the job done. And of course, feel free to use an electric mixer if you so choose. So now that I've added the sugar, I am just going to cream that up together. And again, creaming butter and sugar just means you are mushing it all together until it's creamy. It's probably some fancy French word for it. Doesn't matter. I don't speak French. Except for things like a couple weeks ago with the mirepoix. A couple of words. Enough to get by in the cooking world. That's about it. Might know what I'm ordering at a restaurant if I was in Paris. But then again, if I was there, I'm pretty sure that they would all speak English. Because Americans are the only people in the world who only speak one language on the whole. I really should learn something else. I think you can get paid more at the state for being bilingual. I think the ship has sailed on that, but whatever. Anyway, so there's my butter and sugar. Just eat that, right? Delicious. Nutritious, no. So, to that, I will add, take a sip. I'm glad the power's on. I'm glad I'm here. I know that all millions of you watching this didn't want to miss out. The power was out for almost a full day yesterday. It was no bueno. I had to throw out a bunch of stuff. Luckily, it's cold. It's January, so that helped. Um, and also, I was going to put the eggs out to come up to room temperature anyway, so didn't have to worry about those so much. Okay, 2 eggs. I'm going to crack them flat on the counter You don't crack them on the side of the bowl. You don't want egg shards getting in to your mixture. You can always fish them out, but easier just not to get them there in the first place. You can also use a sugar bowl or some other receptacle. Crack them into there first, so then if you get any shards, you don't have to worry about them getting stuck up in your sugar mixture, butter sugar mixture. See, and I got one little piece of shell in there. I can just pull it right out before it starts getting mixed up into my other thing. That's not shell, that's just a piece of chicken goo. Everyone loves chicken goo, right? See, I was thinking about things I could say to make this a vegan recipe earlier. What was I looking at? I was looking at no, I was just thinking about butter because the original recipe called for margarine. So I'm like, oh, if I went back to margarine or Crisco or something, I could make this a vegan recipe. But no, it's full of milk and yogurt, and eggs. So I would just start something from scratch instead. But no, I don't think that's good. Someone could be into that, maybe. I don't know. See, here's where I might want to go back to the whisk again, because it would just make incorporating these eggs a little better. But I'll do fine with this spoon. Okay, and now the key of the banana bread, of course, the bananas. So I'm just going to peel a nice overripe, mushy bananas. And I do like to put these into a separate bowl to begin with, to mash them up. So once I get them in here, it's hard to mash them up with the spoon. So you can either do this with your hands if your hands are nice and clean, which they should be for cooking, of course, or just mash it up with a fork. Nice and simple. Have one done already in there. Just takes a few seconds. Doesn't have to be perfect. If you want it perfect, you can throw it in the food processor. Amazon, stop. Have my timer. I will go ahead and give my earlier one a check. Now it's still gooey, which I expected. I set an early timer to make sure, but yeah, I need another 15 minutes or so. Tried to time it to be done with somewhat the end of the episode. Imagine that. So, back to it. I'm going to scrape down my spoon and then transfer over to my spatula. There we go. Banana right in there. And give it a good mix. It'll start to look grainy at this point, but don't worry about it. Oh, I don't know. I did read it, and I responded. Hi, Benny. How you doing? I just put the bananas in the banana bread, and it looks grainy at this point because the banana doesn't mix great with just the wet ingredients. Do not worry about it. Do not worry at all. Once you throw in the dries, it's going to be perfect. I'm going to finish adding the rest of my wet ingredients. So I've got my milk and or yogurt, and then if you see the pink, that is some grapefruit juice. Because I had a grapefruit I had to use. So decided to throw it in there. You can really use any sort of citrus that you want. It's all going to be tasting good in this recipe. It's mainly there to activate some of the baking soda, give it the rise that we are looking for, making a nice light, floofy textured cake. It's called banana bread, but it's really a cake. Don't fool yourself. Full of sugar and gluten and a couple of little pretend healthy things. We can pretend we're eating fruit and nuts. I'm gonna turn this a little better. Better, maybe. Anyway, last little wet ingredient is I've got some honey. I take out some of the sugar in this recipe and replace it with honey from the base. Just because brings a nice little extra flavor that's not just sweetness. Oh yeah, no, feel free to fool yourself, John. Or just don't worry about fooling yourself. Just you want something delicious to eat, so you're gonna eat something delicious. Just not all day, every day. Okay, so there's my wet ingredients through. Still looks like a gooby, grainy mess, but it won't in a sec. Hello, Teo. So, pre-measure my dry ingredients, of course, so you don't have to watch me scoop stuff out of bins. Also remember, make sure that you have everything before you start cooking, because if you don't have all the ingredients, you gotta cook something else. So I've got flour, baking powder, baking soda, salt, which isn't in the original recipe, but I'll always put a little salt in, and some ginger. Actually, I just ordered some spices because I was out of a million things, and not quite all of the ginger fit back into my old ginger container, so I just decided to throw some in here. You know what? It'll be good. So I'm not too worried about sifting. It's kind of like pancakes where there's going to be a few lumps, but you don't really care that much. Give that bowl a quick rinse. And I'm just going to fold this all together. And of course, now that I have added the flour, now is the part where you have to worry about not over mixing. Because they're base stock cabinets, I didn't pay to have them redone. I do want to get these counters done eventually, because tile counters, and really this sink I want a new sink. Mostly because I can't wipe stuff into it because there's this ledge. So, yeah. I'll get it done eventually. Probably when there's not a pandemic. Because then I'd have to worry about separating myself from this part of the house while someone's working. And yeah, it's not that urgent. Okay, so now that my dry ingredients are in, it looks like a cake batter. Bread batter, pretend batter. And then I've just got some chopped up almonds laying around. It's not that many. Might add some more. Then I have to chop some. How lazy can I be? Just throw some slivered almonds in there. I have some already set aside for the topping. Oh, it's fine. I don't think Mark wants almonds in there anyway. Mark prefers, well, his recipe says walnuts. I don't like walnuts. And I put pecans in. I have pecans. All I have are glazed pecans right now, and I don't want to add a bunch of extra sugar because it's already sugar. Oh, I was saying earlier, Miss McJimmy. Good diet energy there. I'm saying it is banana bread, is what everyone calls it, but it's really a cake. It's light and fluffy and sweet. You can just call it a sweet bread if you want, but I'm just not going to fool myself into thinking I'm eating bread. You can grill it. You can make French toast out of it, but it's cake. It's banana bread, but it's cake. I mean, it's all just words. You're just eating a sweet banana flavored thing. So, Doesn't matter too much. Most people recognize it as banana bread. It's in the loaf also, so people look at it and it's a loaf of bready type stuff. So they call it banana bread. Anywho, um, oh, my tin. So I've got my loaf tin, like I was just saying. I have sprayed this down with some cooking spray, and then I just cut a piece of parchment paper to fit into it, just to make it easier to lift out, so I don't have to turn it out because it's going to have a nice dome on it, and then I don't want to have to wreck that, and I don't want to tip hot things into my hand. It'll just make it easier for getting out and cooling later. I didn't do that on this one. I don't know. I was just more prepared. This isn't a scripted show. I'm sure you can tell. So I'm just going to tip this whole thing into here, and that is a good point. McJimmy, was that what it said? It's far away. I have not that strong of eyes. But yeah, you can absolutely split this into some mini loaf pans, or you can even do it in muffin tins. Just be aware that that will reduce the cooking time because you won't have a big, deep loaf pan for the heat to get into. So at that point, I would say this is going to cook for an hour. So I would say if you're putting it in mini loaves, cook it for half an hour. Check it. Well, check it at 20 minutes, half an hour. Just like I was doing earlier, and I will show you again with my skewer or a toothpick or a butter knife or something. Yeah. Just scrape that down the sides a little bit. Give it a couple wraps to even out. And then I have a kind of fakey streusel-like topping that I threw together to put on top. Just make it look nice, right? So there's a little bit more of the ginger in here just to bring some consistency in the flavor profile. And then silvered almonds and some brown sugar because that toasts up really nicely. Gives a nice crunchiness. Of course, I just said earlier I wasn't going to put some glazed pecans in here because I didn't want to add a bunch more sugar. And then I go and add a bunch of sugar on top. Whatever. This is planned sugar. I wasn't adding unplanned sugar. Variations, you could always throw, I don't want Mark to yell at me, but you could throw raisins in here if you like raisins. Yeah, there's an AU over there. Got some dried mandarins. You could chop these up and throw them in there. And if I was going to do that, I would probably have used orange juice just to make the flavor consistent. You can do other spices. I just happen to have bonus ginger, so I use that. But you could throw in cinnamon, cardamom. Some people like chocolate chips in their banana bread. I don't like it. It's not my favorite, so I wouldn't do it. But some people like it. If you like it, do it. Doesn't matter too much. Just a half cup of whatever your favorite mix-in is. It's like going to the ice cream shop. You just choose your favorite mix-in and use that. Okay, I'm gonna give my timer a couple minutes because I think that first loaf is almost done. I'm gonna get out oven mitts. So I can bring it out of the oven. Mark got me a Cookie Avengers oven mitt for Christmas. It's cute, right? And then my other one. These are the blue something. I forget the brand name, but they're cute. I like them. They have good art. It's also kind of dirty. I should wash it. Whatever. Amazon. Show me my timers.
Here are your timers.
It's got 3 minutes left. Good enough to check. Just checking a couple places. And my skewer came out clean, so that is ready to come out of the oven. See, the reason I didn't bother with the parchment is because that's a silicone container, so I'm not going to have those same issues getting out of the tin. And I can practically touch it already. Don't do that for a metal tin. Through the magic of me actually getting semi-competent at this thing that I've been doing for a couple of months. Yeah, let me just get a rack and turn this right out. That baked for an hour. And again, let's see. Don't know if it'll turn out right now. I'm going to let it cool for a few minutes. If you have, I know my mom's neighbor likes to use the disposable aluminum baking tins, and then she just leaves them right in there, wraps it up, and gives those away as presents. Do that. Should have kept one of those tins, made this in it, and sent it back. I don't know, I'm going to have to give one of these to my mom to share with her neighbors anyway, because I don't have coworkers to share them with right now. Whatever. Just going to run my skewer along the sides and make sure that's going to release for me nice and easy. It is hot, so I'll go get my towel back. Boom! Of course, that's why I said did the parchment the second time, because I don't have to worry about flipping it over. Squish it. There we go. So, there is my lovely. I got it looked burnt when I got it real close. It's not burnt. That's just the low quality camera. So I hold it away. Lovely and brown, just like it should be. And of course, I lost some of my topping because I flipped it over. See, Libby, it wasn't in the recipe anyway. It was just an extra loveliness to go on top. So there you have it. I would slice it, but it still does need to cool. Serve it with itself. Toast it. It's great with butter, just toasted. Serve it with ice cream, whipped cream, berries, whatever you want. Great brunch. Yeah, like I said earlier, make it into a French toast. Or just throw it in a waffle press to toast it up. Make a pretend waffle thing. And yeah, it's delicious. Quick one today. But yeah, thanks for tuning in, everyone. I hope you enjoy. I hope you try this. I hope you bought bananas 2 weeks ago, so you can go and do it right now. If not, like I said earlier, bake them in the oven for a few minutes until they get nice and brown blackened for you. And that's really just so they can get mashed up nice and easy. And also kind of caramel. I think if you do the baking, it caramelizes the banana, so it's going to be a little bit sweeter than if you just let them sit on the counter to get blackened. But yeah, if you're in town, maybe I will mail you a slice of banana bread or something. Cool. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, it'll be good enough to eat.